precisely 6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Danushka Madhavala and read by Sharifa Tahir. Atamasthanaadhipati Dr. Pallegama Sirinivasa Nayakathera passes away. The government hopes to increase the fuel quota to three-wheelers within the next 2 weeks. Stern legal actions will be taken against if any employee or trade union tried to sabotage the fuel distribution process. GCE O-level results will be released before the end of next month. U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asian Affairs Donald Lu is scheduled to arrive in Sri Lanka today. News overseas, blackouts in 1,162 towns and villages in Ukraine after Russia strikes. Local news in detail now. Most Venerable Dr. Pallegama Sirinivasa Nayakathera, custodian and chief priest of Mahabodhi and Atamasthanaadhipati, has passed away at the age of 69. He had reportedly passed away while receiving treatment at a private hospital in Colombo. Most Venerable Dr. Pallegama Sirinivasa Nayakathera was also the chief Sanghanayaka, North Central Province, Bomalua Temple, Mahaviharya in Anuradhapura. Minister Kanchana Wijesekara says that the government hopes to increase the fuel quota to three-wheelers within the next 2 weeks. The government has reduced the price of petrol for 3 occasions. The minister requests the three-wheel owners to convey the relief to the passengers. The minister said the government will have to maintain the fuel quota system for the next few months as well. But it is expected to increase the fuel quota for three-wheelers. There are around 1.1 million three-wheelers in the country, and out of that number, only 350,000 three-wheelers are running on hiring purposes. The minister said the government is preparing a mechanism to identify the hiring three-wheelers at present. Minister Kanchana Wijesekara says that stern legal actions will be taken against if any employee or trade union tried to sabotage the fuel distribution process. Issuing a Twitter message, the minister said the fuel distribution process has made an essential service at present. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation giving you the news. We continue with more stories here at home. Minister Susil Premajanta says that the results of GCE ordinary level examination will be released before the end of next month. The exam was held between 23rd of May and 1st of June. 517,496 candidates sat in this year's GCE ordinary level examination. The Central Bank's Purchasing Managers Index survey showed manufacturing activities in Sri Lanka contracted while services sector only expanded marginally in September 2022. Manufacturing PMI declined in September 2022, indicating a setback in manufacturing activities on a month-on-month basis. Accordingly, manufacturing PMI recorded an index value of 42.6 in September 2022, with a decline of 7.0 index points from the previous month, driven by the decreases in all the sub-indices except employment and suppliers' delivery time. The decline in new orders and production was mainly attributable to the manufacture of food and beverages and textiles and wearing apparel sectors. U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asian Affairs Donald Lu is scheduled to arrive in Sri Lanka today. The U.S. Embassy in Colombo said he will be engaging in discussions about U.S.-Sri Lanka relations and the island nation's economic situation. While here, Assistant Secretary Lu will meet with senior Sri Lankan officials to discuss ways in which the United States and Sri Lanka can promote economic stability, regional security, human rights, and responsive, transparent, and inclusive governance. That's local news for the moment.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
Education Minister Susir Premajanta says that a national-level university will be established to turn out more teachers. The minister disclosed this during a discussion with the ministry officials at the ministry. The minister said they had many requests to bring colleges of education to the university level and preliminary discussion regarding the issue has been completed. He said it has been advised to draft that information along with the cabinet memorandum to establish national-level universities for the teaching profession. He further said the universities will provide 3 years of theoretical studies and 1 year of teacher training.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddha Lepaveda.
And on Watchlight, Cabinet spokesperson Minister Bandula Gunawardena says the Cabinet has given the approval to increase the government's credit limit by 663 billion rupees. President Ranil Wickremesinghe tabled the proposal to the Cabinet of Ministers yesterday in his capacity as the Minister of Finance, Economic Stabilization and National Policies. Minister Gunawardena said this addressing the Cabinet press briefing yesterday.
World News, brought to you by courtesy of...
We give you the strength to rise higher and higher.
Never step back, but always march forward.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
World News headlines: blackouts in 1,162 towns and villages in Ukraine after Russia strikes. Minister argues that this is not the time to change conservative leader. Blinken says Beijing speeding up plans for China-Taiwan unification. World News in detail. More than 1,000 towns and villages across Ukraine remain without power after massive Russian attacks in recent days, Ukrainian officials have said. Emergency Services spokesman Alexander Korensky said more than 70 people had been killed in the rocket and drone strikes since 7th October. President Volodymyr Zelensky said that 30% of Ukraine's power stations had been destroyed in the past 8 days. Parts of the capital, Kyiv, have no power and water after new strikes on Tuesday. Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko said that all 3 victims of the latest Russian strikes were employees of critical infrastructure, adding that 2 facilities in the capital had been hit. Power and water were cut in Zhytomyr, west of the capital, and 1 energy facility was hit in the southeastern city of Dnipro. Armed Forces Minister James Hepe has argued that is not the time to be changing leaders as he defended the Prime Minister. Suggestions that there is a candidate to replace Liz Truss who would unite the party is for the birds, he added. Ms. Truss has insisted she will lead the Conservatives into the next general election despite U-turns, leaving her battling to salvage her authority. Labour is calling for an election regardless of Ms. Truss's position. Political editor Chris Mason said Truss apologized for the mistakes she made over the ill-fated mini-budget, and on Monday, Chancellor Jeremy Hunt reversed almost all the tax-cutting proposals laid out last month by former Chancellor Kwasi Kwarteng. Finally, on World News, China is pursuing unification with Taiwan on a much faster timeline than previously expected, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken had said. Beijing had decided the status quo was no longer acceptable, he said. In Sunday's speech opening the Communist Party Congress in Beijing, President Xi Jinping refused to rule out using force to unify with Taiwan. China sees the self-ruled island as a part of its territory, but Taiwan sees itself as distinct from the mainland. Last month, U.S. President Joe Biden said U.S. forces would defend Taiwan in the event of a Chinese attack, despite the U.S. official U.S. policy of ambiguity on the issue. Speaking at an event at Stanford University on Tuesday with previous Secretary Condoleezza Rice, Mr. Blinken said that if Beijing could not achieve unification by peaceful means, it would use coercion and possibly force. That's on World News.
World News, Brought to you by courtesy of
Amidst all challenges, we will rally around you and advance.
In the face of hardships, let's stand strong together.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
And on development news, the International Monetary Fund has assured its commitment to work with Sri Lanka when the State Minister of Finance, Shehan Semasinghe, met with the Managing Director of the IMF, Kristalina Georgieva. State Minister of Finance, Shehan Semasinghe, has concluded the IMF World Bank annual meeting with the bilateral discussion with the IMF Managing Director, Kristalina Georgieva. Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, also participated in the discussions. The Managing Director has commended Sri Lanka government on the difficult yet essential reforms that it had undertaken to restore economic stability.
Sports News is brought to you by...
With many values that bind us beyond the transaction, we are Sampath Bank. We present your future.
In soccer news, France and Chelsea midfielder N'Golo Kante has been ruled out of the World Cup in Qatar after having an operation on a hamstring injury. Kante, who's 31, suffered the injury during Chelsea's 2-2 home draw with Tottenham on 14th August. In a statement, the club said that the procedure was a success, but Kante is expected to be sidelined for 4 months. It added that the decision to operate to repair the damage was mutual. In the meantime, Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp has been charged by the Football Association following his sending off during his side's 1-0 win against Manchester City. Klopp was dismissed after berating a referee's assistant when a foul was not given for a challenge on Mohamed Salah. The incident came on a weekend where Merseyside Youth League games were postponed amid ongoing issues with referee abuse. Klopp apologized for his reaction in his post-match comments. That's on Sports News.
A special interest rate of 15% on savings certificates opened in October. Prarthana for children, Prarthana Plus for adults. NSB Prarthana, your dreams realized.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The UK's competition watchdog has reissued an order to Meta to sell animated images platform Jiffy. The Competition and Markets Authority said this ruling was final after going back and forth with the tech giant since its decision was first announced last year. The CMA found that the takeover of the GIF creation website could harm social media users and advertising. A Meta spokesperson said it accepted the decision but was disappointed. The ruling is the first time the UK has blocked an acquisition by a tech giant, signaling a new determination to scrutinize digital deals.
Business News, sponsored by
When I grow up, I'll fly to the moon somehow.
Envision your future now. NSB Prarthana will show you the path to your dreams. This Thrift Month, open a savings certificate. It's a long-term investment on your future with great returns. A special interest rate of 15% on savings certificates opened in October. Prarthana for children, Prarthana Plus for adults. NSB Prarthana, your dreams realized.
Economic News, courtesy of...
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
And on economic news, the National Water Supply and Drainage Board says that the tariff for the new water connections has been increased by 70% with effect from yesterday. P.R. Padmanatha, Deputy General Manager of the National Water Supply and Drainage Board, said the decision was taken due to the increase in the price of the equipment used for water connections. Until now, the initial amount to be paid for getting a new water connection was 16,000 rupees. However, about 30,000 rupees is spent to complete the water connection. Therefore, the revisions have been made to increase this charge by 70%. That's on economic news.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall gold award whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking. LOLC Finance will continue to innovate with the next generation digitalization of financial services, delivering